I'm so glad that you found our channel. So what I'm going to do with this reading channel is I'm going to be doing my read alouds since we can't be in the classroom together. I really miss reading to you guys, and I'm so glad that we can still be able to read aloud even though I can't be there with you in the class. So I'm going to be reading each day a chapter from the story that we started. If you remember, we started reading The Phantom TollBooth. So this story was about a boy named Milo. And if you remember, Milo was very bored all the time. He felt like he had nothing to do. He was tired of playing with the toys that he had at his house. He wanted to do something different. And so when he got home from school one day, he had a package on his doorstep, which was a toll booth. And we talked about what a toll booth was in class. And if you remember, a toll booth is kind of it's where you have to put money in to be able to use a road. So it kind of keeps the roads nice. They use that money to make sure that there's no potholes and they take care of the road. So some roads have toll booths where you have to stop and put money in. And sometimes bridges even have a toll booth where you put money in. So he got into his toy car and he was driving up to the toll booth. He put his money in and it magically took him to this new world. So he started driving, and if you remember, he ended up in a place called the Doldrums. And as he was driving, his car kind of slowed down, and it was kind of like the power out of his car left. So it was like the batteries were dying. And then it finally stopped, and he was talking to the people in the Doldrums. And if you remember, they were very lazy. They were sleeping on the side of the road. They were telling him about their schedule, and they were talking about how it was very difficult to be lazy, which we know that's kind of silly. It's not difficult to just sleep all day, right? But they're talking about how busy their schedule is. They have to procrastinate, they have to dilly-dally, they have to sleep, they have to nap, and so they had a very lazy life. So I went back just a little bit to remind us exactly what was happening. And then tomorrow you'll have to come back and listen to the next chapter in our story. Okay. You see, continued another, it's really quite strenuous doing nothing all day. So once a week we take a holiday and we go nowhere, which was just where we were going when you came along. Would you like to join us? I might as well, thought Milo. That's where I seem to be going anyway. Tell me, he yawned, for he felt very sleepy and ready to nap now himself. Does everyone here do nothing? Everyone but that terrible watchdog. And a watchdog is kind of like a guard dog. But in this story, you're going to see that watchdog means something else. Said two of them, shuddering. He's always sniffing around, seeing that nobody's wasting time. A most unpleasant character. The watchdog? Said Milo quizzically. The watchdog? Shouted another, fainting from fright, for racing down the road, barking furiously and kicking up a great cloud of dust, was a very large dog, of whom they had been speaking. There's a picture of our watchdog. There's another. He's racing down the road. Run! Wake up! Run! Here he comes, the watchdog! Great shouts filled the air, and they all scattered in many directions and soon disappeared entirely. Ruff! Exclaimed the watchdog as he dashed up to the car, loudly puffing and panting. Milo's eyes opened wide, for there in front of him was a large dog with a perfectly normal head, 4 feet and a tail, and the body of a loud, clicking alarm clock. What are you doing here? Growled the watchdog. Just killing time, replied Milo apologetically. And if we say killing time, we mean we're wasting time, right? We're just doing nothing really. And that's what the watchdog was there to protect, right? You see, killing time? Roared the dog so furiously that his alarm went off. It's bad enough wasting time without killing it. And he shuddered at the thought. Why are you in the doldrums anyway? Don't you have anywhere to go? I was just on my way to Dictionopolis when I got stuck here, explained Milo. Can you help me? Help you? You must help yourself, the dog replied, carefully winding himself with his left leg up. I suppose you know why you got stuck here. Here's a picture of he's winding himself. I guess I just wasn't thinking, said Milo. Precisely, shouted the dog, and his alarm went off again. Now you know what you must do. I'm afraid I don't, admitted Milo, feeling quite stupid. Well, continued the watchdog impatiently, since you got here by not thinking, it seems reasonable to expect that in order to get out, you must start thinking. And with that, he hopped into the car. Do you mind if I get in? I love automobile rides. Milo began to think as hard as he could, which was very difficult since he wasn't used to it. He thought of birds that swam and fish that flew. He thought of yesterday's lunch and tomorrow's dinner. He thought of words that began with J and numbers that ended in 3, and as he thought, the wheels began to turn. We're moving, he shouted happily. Keep thinking, scolded the dog. The little car started to go faster and faster as Milo's brain whirled with activity, and down the road they went. In a few moments, they were out of the doldrums and back on the main highway. All the colors had returned to their original brightness, and they raced along the road. Milo continued to think of all sorts of things, of the many detours and wrong turns that were easy to take, of how fine it was to be moving along, and most of all, of how much he could be accomplished with just a little thought. And the dog had his nose in the wind, just sat back, watchfully ticking. And that's actually the end of our chapter. Tomorrow, we're going to read Welcome to Dictionopolis. So I want you, if you're able to, at the bottom, since we aren't able to talk face to face, if you're able to comment at the bottom and tell me who or what you think of our watchdog. What kind of character do you think he is? Do you think he's going to be important to Milo's adventure? So tell me what you think at the bottom and come back tomorrow to find out what happens in our story. And I will see you then. I hope you guys are having a very safe and healthy time off.